In 2002, Sony attempted something genuinely audacious. A photorealistic recreation of London, so detailed, so obsessively accurate, that it famously panicked the British government over concerns about mapping sensitive infrastructure. That alone should tell you everything about what Team Soho was trying to build. But here's the thing about ambition. It doesn't care about your gameplay loop. Beneath the cinematic brilliance of the Getaway lies a mechanical nightmare, a game that prioritized vanity over feel, aesthetics over accessibility, and paid a very heavy price for it. Today, we're deconstructing exactly why this ambitious technical marvel became arguably the most expensive failure of the PlayStation 2 era, and why, despite everything, it might be more important than the games that actually won. Let's set the scene. It's 2002. Grand Theft Auto 3 has just redefined what open-world games can be. The PlayStation 2 is at the height of its dominance, and Sony's Team Soho steps into the room with a very specific pitch. We're going to do what Rockstar did, but make it London, make it real, and make it a film. The development process was genuinely extraordinary. The team dispatched photographers across central London, capturing roughly 20 square miles of the city on foot. Streets, alleyways, shop fronts, pub signs, every facade had a reference. The commitment to authenticity wasn't a marketing talking point, it was a documented obsession. And when you boot up the Getaway for the first time, it delivers on that promise. Soho, Covent Garden, the South Bank, it's there. A digitized snapshot of early 2000s London that no other game had attempted. The problem? Players weren't hired as photographers. They were there to play. And from the first 5 minutes of actually controlling the game, a very uncomfortable gap opened up between what the game looked like and what it felt like to exist inside it. Here's where the Getaway makes its boldest and most divisive call. No HUD. Completely. No minimap, no health bar, no ammo counter, no waypoint arrow, nothing. The reasoning was sound, aesthetically speaking. Team Soho wanted the Getaway to feel like a Guy Ritchie film, lock and stock, snatch, gritty, grounded, cinematic. And nothing breaks that illusion faster than a floating compass in the corner of your screen. So instead, they built navigation into the world. Your character's car indicators, the turn signals, would blink left or right to guide you through London's streets. Brilliant in concept, maddening in practice. Because here's what happens in the real world. You're being chased. There's chaos. You're making split-second decisions. And you're also supposed to be reading a car's indicator light at 60 miles per hour. It's the kind of design decision that looks perfect on a whiteboard, and falls apart the moment a real human being sits down with a controller. The healing system followed the same logic. Injured? Find a wall, lean against it, and wait. Your character recovers through rest. Not health packs, not regeneration bars. Just a man, a wall, and a few seconds of cinematic breathing. Immersive? Genuinely, yes. Practical during a firefight in a narrow Soho corridor? Absolutely not. Movement in the Getaway feels like operating heavy machinery through a layer of wet concrete. And again, intentionally so. Team Soho wanted weight, wanted consequence. A man running from gangsters should feel like a real man running, not a video game avatar gliding across a surface. The philosophy is admirable. The execution is where things fracture. Gunfights in the Getaway are a particular kind of suffering. The character turns slowly, locks on with limited precision, and the enemy AI, which occasionally decides to just stand there, creates encounters that feel less like action sequences and more like administrative tasks. Meanwhile, the driving, which should be the game's beating heart given the London sandbox, is stiff in all the wrong places. The city is painstakingly rendered. Every road, every junction, every iconic street is accurate. And then you go around a corner, and the car handles like a shopping trolley with one broken wheel. This is the central tension of the Getaway in one sentence. The world earned your trust, and the mechanics immediately broke it. The developers weren't cutting corners. They were making active, deliberate choices to prioritize their vision over player comfort, which, as a philosophy, you can respect. But as a product shipped to millions of people expecting an open-world action game, it left a mark. The Getaway was not a small bet. It was one of the most expensive PlayStation 2 games ever developed, a project that ballooned through extended delays and escalating scope. Sony backed it with significant resources precisely because it was meant to be the showcase title, proof that European development could compete with Rockstar's American dominance. The narrative itself is genuinely interesting, a dual protagonist crime story where a desperate father and a morally compromised detective find themselves entangled with London's criminal underworld. Very much in the vein of British gangster cinema. And when it works, it works. But the mission design? Rigid, unforgiving. Checkpoints placed with what feels like deliberate cruelty. And the tonal ambition of the story keeps bumping up against the mechanical limitations of how you're actually made to experience it. Here's the deeper problem with chasing realism above all else. Realism has an expiry date in gaming. Stylized games age like fine wine. GTA Vice City, Jet Set Radio, Beyond Good and Evil. Their aesthetics carry them forward. But realism-first games age like documentary footage. They become historical documents rather than experiences. And the Getaway's version of photorealism, which was breathtaking in 2002, looks its age considerably harder than contemporaries that leaned into style. The irony is sharp. The thing that made it special is also what made it mortal. So where does the Getaway actually sit in history? Consider this. Everything the Getaway was reaching for, the cinematic immersion, the actor performances, the story-driven structure, the refusal to compromise aesthetics for the sake of HUD conventions, that vision won. It just took 15 years and better hardware for the industry to execute it properly. The Last of Us strips the HUD. Detroit Become Human treats games as interactive films. God of War runs on a single, unbroken camera shot. The ideas that Team Soho were willing to break their game over have become the defining pillars of modern prestige gaming. And in 2026, the Getaway commands a cult following that has only grown more thoughtful with time. Not despite its flaws, but because of them. It is a genuinely unique artifact, a snapshot of pre-gentrification London that no longer exists, rendered in extraordinary detail at a time when no one else cared to do it. You want to walk through Soho in 2002? There is literally one interactive way to do that.